Hi guys, this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor and your leverage for change. Today I'm going to be speaking about what happens after there's a breakup with the dismissive avoidant partner and how they respond to breakups, especially when they are the ones that was broken up with, right? And so let me go back a little bit just to give you a background for somebody who may not have watched any of the videos of my prior videos that kind of gave an outline of what a dismissive avoidant partner, their traits are, and how it was developed. So that usually when you're in people in relationship with a dismissive avoidant partner will say that they are cold, distant, and almost unfeeling. Very, they always feel like there's a barrier between them. They never ever feel like they're fully connected with them. That they feel emotionally deprived with this partner because this partner is not able to either connect with them emotionally, whether it be in conversations or intimacy or any type of way, right? And these feelings of lack of emotion from a dismissive avoidant partner is usually is developed when they were children, from birth right up to 2-3 years old. That was kind of formed in their unconscious mind, because I remember the frontal lobe that makes sense of what is happening is not developed until much later, right? And so therefore they did not understand, they couldn't question, they didn't understand why this was happening. They weren't able to figure out or kind of question this, and so it was just deposited into their unconscious mind, and it just stayed there. Sometimes, a lot of times, the dismissive avoidant partner will not even know why they're behaving in certain ways. So it's a very deep, it is buried very, very deep in the unconscious mind, right? And very difficult to retrieve that information, to actually even make sense of why am I acting this way. They seem to not even be able to fathom that. So usually this happens when the caregivers or parents, guys, they are usually either mentally challenged in some way. They could have suffer from depression, and so they, when you're suffering from depression, your affect, your facial expressions, you just cannot, you don't want to smile, you don't want to laugh. And so imagine trying to mirror a child's laughter and little giggles, and when they're looking at you, you're looking at them. So they are usually have this stoic look, very bland facial expressions, nothing. And so the same thing with someone who's mentally challenged, or sometimes it's a single mom or a single dad who's just like overworked, and they just can't, their main thing is just to feed and make sure the child is and clothe them and make sure they have somewhere to sleep. And it's like everything else is like work for them, because it's so much, they have so many responsibilities, just trying to put food on the table, pay rent, all that kind of stuff. So they're maybe working 2 or 3 jobs. They come home, they're tired, and now they have to take care of baby. And so that affect is just not there. And if this goes on for a long time, then the child learns to self-soothe, and they learn not to depend on their parents being there for them. It also happens, guys, when, especially when the parents are single parents, or they are parents who are mentally ill or depressed. A lot of times that child now becomes parentified, in terms of they end up being like the parent, and they start now to take care of younger siblings or even the parents, and they are given this they are acknowledged, but not emotionally, just acknowledged, and they feel good. That's the only time they feel seen and heard. Otherwise they're like invisible and just kind of melt into the background of the environment. The parents don't see or hear them until they do something that's good. And so these people, these individuals will also always be looking outside of themselves to do things for others, so they can get that kind of acknowledgement as well, right, as they grow in their adult relationships. So Of course, this causes a lot of problems in intimate relationships where it's all about emotions, right? You want to connect with your partner emotionally. You want to be able to feel that you have this deep connection, that this person can sit with you and talk to you and feel what you know, understand how you're feeling, empathize with you, which the person with the dismissive avoidant attachment style just cannot do. They cannot retrieve it because they never had it. All right. So now, how, you know, a lot of times they are broken up with because the other partner just cannot, they just can't tolerate that. It's just too painful. You know, you love this person, but you cannot get them to say they love you. A lot of times they can't even say they love you. A lot of times they cannot, they don't have that intimacy to want to hug you and hold you or to look in your eyes, because remember, they never had that as children. So a lot of partners just feel unloved and dismissed, just like they felt dismissed as children. They've brought it into their other relationships, right? And so they kind of now bring all of that kind of experience as children. This, guys, the dismissive avoidant partner can also be formed later in life, and also, you know, when the people have gone through, individuals as they grow up and enter intimate relationships, they end up having people who are dismissive. And so you know, they after a while, they just, you know, that's all they know. That's all they know how relationship should be, and that's what they accept, especially if they have that base from childhood. So it is actually now more concretized as they grow, you know, older and experience this in their different adult relationships. So what are some of the things that happen after a breakup for the dismissive avoidant? Well, most of the time they just shut down. That's their kind of like a go-to response because that's what they do mostly. Even when they were in the relationship, if something get too emotionally dense, they will either leave or shut down. So now that this person has left them, or said, you know, I cannot take this anymore, I just really can't deal with this, they will also shut down as an immediate response. They may also do the passive aggressive thing. So they may say things or shoot out little jabs to kind of try to get a kind of a rise out of you, right? To kind of make you feel bad for ditching them, right? So it would be more like a passive aggressive kind of jabs, little jabs, you know, especially, and they might do this way after, you know, I mean, shortly after the thing, when everything is really, really, really painful, you know, right after the breakup. They may also rebound very quickly because they don't want to be in that painful space that they now find themselves in, hurting because somebody ditched them or somebody said, you know, they can't take this anymore, they have to just leave. They're feeling pain even though they cannot express it or they don't show it. They feel pain, and so they may now try to go into another relationship just to get rid of that pain, so that other relationship can occupy their time and their attention, so that they're not so focused on the relationship they just lost, right? So sometimes they rebound very quickly, right? I must make this clear that every single attachment style is always along a spectrum. So it is nothing set in stone. Everybody is going to act at different levels. And so these are just some of the things from the different levels and different spectrums that I've seen. All right. So it's not just one person, and there's so many other things that come into play when you're kind of having to look at different attachment styles, because everybody's different and they come in with different things, and so there could be additional things that come into play that will make a difference. Okay, so they will numb themselves. Some will use their work to numb themselves, because remember before, that is what one of their go-to is to just kind of like numb themselves with work. So they will work overtime. They will be at work most of the time and just come home to sleep and go back to work again. Or they're always doing something with work. It is something to distract from the pain that they're feeling, but they cannot express. So they, work does not require an emotional kind of a connection or certain things. Maybe it is a video game. They may not, but they will throw themselves headlong into some kind of a something that's going to take up their time, so they don't have to think about the pain that's happening after this loss, right? So another thing could be drugs. They could do drugs. They could do, that's a negative part of that, is that they could go into, go into taking some drugs. They could be smoking or drinking or doing some kind of dangerous hobbies that gives them this high that the love would have given them. It was like replacing the love. So they might do bungee jumping off of some cliff, or they might do skydiving, stuff like that, right? Just to keep that high of the relationship, but without the emotional connection with anyone. So they act, their tendency is usually to act really cold and uncaring because of that emotional lack of emotional attunement when they were children. And this is their usual, that's just their go-to response for anything that they don't feel comfortable with. They will just get cold, distance themselves from that situation. If a breakup was because they somehow felt they could not make you happy, though, say this was a long-term relationship, and you've been asking them to do this and to trying to get them to change, to do some of the things that you'd like to do, and they felt like it was like just there's no way that they could rise to your level of what you need, or that they could never satisfy your needs. They will actually feel relief, because guys, remember, these individuals usually do very well at their jobs, and a lot of their self-worth and self-esteem and self-image comes from being very good at what they do. So imagine if they don't feel that they did a good job. To them, it's a job sometimes. It's because it's cold, right? It's distance, right? Of making you happy. They might feel this relief because they figure that, oh my God, there's no way I could have made this person happy anyway. So you know what? It's for the best. So they may use that excuse to get themselves relief as well. All right. It usually takes months, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months for them to start actually feeling some kind of a thing. And when I say feel, not like how we feel, but come to the realization perhaps that they had a part in this thing, because they may remember that you were asking them to do all these things before, and they just didn't do it, or they dismissed it, or said it was stupid, or whatever it is. And so they may take a while to come to the realization that they had a part to play in this process, a big part, and then they might start to kind of calm down a little bit, right? And it may be at this stage that they might want to reconcile with you, so they might not come outward. Then this attachment style is usually not one that will come out and say they're sorry. No. There's a lot of pride, and there's a lot of vulnerability that that would engender a lot of, and this attachment style does not like to be vulnerable. So they will not. You will find it very, very rare for them to come and say they are sorry. What they will do is start to kind of come around and do little things for you, or say little things, send you little this, until they slowly weasel themselves back into your life, if you allow it. It is at this time, though, guys, that you have to decide, am I going to allow this to happen? Do I want to give this person another chance? Is this a healthy relationship for me? If it didn't work before, why do I believe it will work now? Is this person now willing to change and look at themselves and see that there is a problem, and work with you towards achieving a healthy relationship? Perhaps also for them achieving, getting more secure in their relationship, working with you and being able to do some of the difficult things that this kind of self-growth would require. And so this is at a time that you have to really, really, really think, guys, because otherwise you're just going to go back into the same kind of circle. And sometimes I've discovered and heard from other relationships that these individuals, when they come back, they can last for a good 6-7 months, right? I mean, a good while, a couple months on end, right? They will come back and they'll jump in headlong and do everything. They might do a lot of the things that you always wanted them to do, and you go, oh my God, is this person's like made a 360 turn from what they did, right? And you're happy and you think that this is you know, they're changing, and you and then 6 months later or so you realize they go right back into their regular thing, because they really didn't change. They just wanted to get you back again, and so they will do the things that they had, you know, they know that you want to do. So at some level, guys, you know that they are capable of doing it, the things that you were asking for in the beginning. So at some level, you know that they're, but because it's not in their makeup, it's not in their makeup, it's not how they naturally think or naturally do things. It is work for them, and after a while it is going to fizzle out and die, and you're back at square one. So guys, I hope that this kind of give you some idea of how you know, a breakup with someone from a dismissive, avoidant, attachment style looks like, and also just to be sure that you know that if you are going to allow them to come back for whatever reason, right, that you really make you really look at all the, you know, things that happened in the past, see what's happening now, and make a really a decision, informed decision on what you need to do moving forward. Alright guys, so this is Christine, your relationship and mindset master doctor, and your leverage for change. Please, if you did learn something from this video, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And also please hit that notification bell. That way, as soon as I upload something new, you will get that notification. Alright guys, take care until next time. Bye bye.